I'm Jill Shah, president of the Shah Family Foundation, and I'm here with Lauren Baker, the First Lady of Massachusetts. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, as you know, at the Shah Family Foundation, we believe that every child deserves delicious, nutritious meals every day when school is in session and when it isn't. And we know now more than ever that this is critical to building strong, resilient communities. So today, you and I are here to talk about a very important program, the Pandemic EBT or PEBT program, which was launched back in April to help families buy food. Lauren, can you tell us more about this program?
Yes, this is an incredible benefit to families across Massachusetts. The federal government has provided funding, additional dollars for every child who's eligible for the school lunch program, which is a national program by the USDA.
Right.
And we're so proud that Massachusetts was the fourth state to be approved for this program. And it brings in millions of dollars for children for healthy food. And in Massachusetts, we've had over 500,000 eligible children receive benefits either through their SNAP card or through this PEBT card. And each child receives $399. And this extra funding can really be helpful to families in getting the healthy food that their families love. And at the same time, it really helps local retailers and Massachusetts farms. So I hope everybody takes advantage of it.
Absolutely. So every child in these 500,000 children across the state receives $399. So if you have multiple children in your family, multiple children receive that fund. How can families use the PEBT funds? Can you go to the grocery store? Can you use it at your farmer's market? How do you use the funds?
Yes, you can. You can use the funds anywhere that accepts SNAP.
Yep.
And so that's local grocery stores and other retailers. And now they've made it possible for you to be able to use your PEBT benefit on Amazon and at Walmart online.
What if you receive the card and you don't feel like you need it? If you feel like you can already afford the groceries that you need, what should you do?
We would encourage you, if you have children who are eligible for this PEBT card program, please use the funds that were given to you and use them at local retailers, at farmers markets, things like that, because all of that helps stimulate our local economy and helps bring people back to work, which is something we really want to make happen in Massachusetts.
So this is pretty incredible. There's $200 million of federal funding that has been provided against this PEBT program just for the state of Massachusetts. And so if everyone uses the maximum value of those cards, that $200 million goes back into our local economy, into our local grocery stores, into our local farmers markets, and helps create new jobs, I would imagine, or support the jobs that are already in place.
Absolutely. It's extremely important. So, it helps everybody. And, the most important thing is that our children receive healthy food that they love and that it's easy for families to access the food that they need, whether it's for dietary restrictions or cultural reasons, or just to have a little extra help buying healthy food every week. That's what it's all about. We want to make sure that our children are fed and healthy.
Thank you very much, First Lady Lauren Baker, for your time and for talking with us about the PEBT program. It's such an important program for families and businesses in the Commonwealth.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
I'm now happy to introduce the Mayor of Lynn, Thomas McGee, and Lynn's Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Patrick Tutwiler, to talk about the Pandemic EBT or PEBT program in Lynn. Hello to both of you.
Good morning.
Morning.
Great to be with you.
Thank you. It's so great to have you here too. So all children in the city of Lynn qualify for the PEBT benefit, which is extraordinary. And so Mayor, maybe I'll start with you. Could you talk a little bit about why this benefit is important to Lynn and to the families in Lynn?
We have about 17,000 students, 10,000 households with families, and obviously Lynn, every family in Lynn being eligible for this shows the need in our community. And during this pandemic, there's been a real challenge with food insecurity. So we really want to ensure that every piece of information is available to allow people to know how they can access food. And this is such a great resource, and we want to make sure everyone has had a chance to get their cards activated and use them.
That's so great. And Superintendent, so there are students still who have not activated the card. Could you talk a little bit about the value of these cards and how much money they could utilize for food if they were activating their cards?
Certainly. The value is incredible. Since the month of April, approximately $400 has been added to the cards for use for families to purchase food. So it is an incredible benefit and one that we really want to encourage families to take full advantage of.
Yeah, it really is an incredible benefit. And it sounds like there's some cards, so maybe around 1,900 cards, Mayor, that have not yet been activated. Could you talk a little bit about what folks should do if they feel like they didn't get a card and they should have gotten a card, or maybe they misplaced it, or they moved, or for some reason they haven't activated?
It's been something we've really worked hard on to make sure everybody knows this. I know through the schools that there's been a major effort to let every family know that these cards are available. So 1,900 cards times $400 is a lot for the families, and it's just as important for the economy in the community. A lot of the smaller grocery stores that these families will be utilizing. So we, contact our office, contact the schools. We'll continue to be making that information available. That's why I think it's so important. We're talking about it this morning so people understand it's available, and we'll continue to get that information out. But again, they can contact my office, contact the school department. Those numbers are available on our website as well as social media.
It's really terrific. And so they really can use it anywhere where food is being sold. So you can use it in your grocery store, at a local bodega, at farmers markets. It's an incredible benefit and really accepted very broadly. Tell me about if I'm worried about my immigration status. And it may make, we know that it's preventing some people from using this card. Superintendent, could you talk a little bit about that worry, and should people be worried about that when they're thinking about whether or not to use this card?
They shouldn't. This is a benefit that's available for all of our families, and public charge is not at all a concern related to use of the card. So this is something they should be taking full advantage of and not be fearful of any issues related to their immigration status.
Okay, that's great to know. And I'm just going to mention that there is an assistance line that DTA has, and that assistance line is 1-877-382-2363. And so they can always also call the DTA assistance line if they need some sort of help activating or obtaining their benefits. What about, Superintendent, if they haven't yet received their card? Should everyone in Lynn at this point who was going to receive a card have received it?
By this point, yes. And if they haven't, we want to be a resource and connecting them to the Department of Transitional Assistance so that they can get one. But by now, if they've not, or if they've experienced any challenges related to accessing this important benefit, the Lynn Public Schools stands ready to support them towards accessing it.
Okay, and this might even be, there's a PIN number that's referred to on the card. If they don't know what their PIN number is or have lost their child's case number, there's something they can do.
Yeah, there's a website that they can access, www.map-ebt.org, where they can get the PIN number for their card.
Okay, terrific. Now, Mayor, what if families don't feel like they need food assistance? Should they use the card? Does it make sense? What do they do in this case?
I think that's a great question. The card is available for use to put food on the table for families that need it. But just as importantly, it really is helping many of our businesses in our community. This pandemic has really impacted small businesses in a big way, and bodegas and smaller grocery stores throughout our community, particularly in the areas where there's a lot of dense population. They're looking, they really need the business. So the cards are really making a difference across the board. And these cards are available wherever SNAP is available. I think I just want to make one point. We have the farmers market in Lynn, and that's fresh fruit from both the community gardens we have in the city, but also from local farms. And those foods are fresh right off the farm, and that gives people a chance to get fresh food, fruit, and vegetables on the table as well. So it's such a benefit in so many ways.
I agree with you. And the First Lady also made this point that this is really a benefit on both sides, that it's a benefit to all of our local families across the state to help put food on the table, but it's just as much an important benefit to businesses, right? We're trying to work to make sure that businesses in the food world stay in business. And so this is really supporting the local economy as well as supporting your family in your family's food needs. Mayor, you mentioned SNAP. What do folks know? What do they need to know if they think that they might be qualified for SNAP, haven't done anything about looking into SNAP benefits? Is there a place that they should go to see if they're eligible for programs like SNAP?
They can reach out to my office. They can reach out to both the Senate and the representatives in the district. Because sometimes those are some of the easier connections to make. They may not have the direct connections to some of the state agencies, but I know that they can usually connect with their local legislators, their local councilors, or with my office. And on the school department side, with all calls and 10,000 households and the connections that the school department has, and I think the trust that people have in what's going on in the schools in the city of Lynn, that's really a connection, and then we can ensure that we connect them with the way that they can sign up for the cards and make sure they get them and that their eligibility is available to them.
Yeah, I think it's such a good point. And there's two other partners that we want to mention. Project Bread has a food source hotline. And so Project Bread's phone number is 800-645-8333. And this number has language support for 160 different languages. So that's super important. And I'll just mention the DTA assistance line one more time. That's the Department of Transitional Assistance. So this is the department that manages SNAP benefits for the entire state. That number is 877-382-2363. Superintendent, any final words for families as we head maybe back to school, maybe who knows, but when they're thinking about food and their families for the fall, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, as you might imagine, there have been a lot of questions related to school, but we have always made clear that our first priority is the health and well-being of our students, their families, and our staff. And toward that end, we continue to offer grab-and-go lunches for all of our students. In fact, anybody under the age of 18, whether they're a Lynn Public School student or not. At Lynn Classical, Lynn English, Lynn Tech, and Marshall Middle School, available between 11 and 1 every day. We've been doing that since March when we closed, and we'll continue to do that whether we are in person or learning remotely when school begins. In fact, we intend to expand that program.
That's so beautiful. And Mayor, any final words from your perspective?
I just want to make clear that this is available for everyone. You asked the question earlier about undocumented or people with status issues. This is for people that have children or children in our community that aren't able to get food on the table. And so this is available for everyone. And it's something that everyone should be taking advantage of. And the schools have done a great job on the grab and go, as the superintendent said, whether you're a student or not, if you're 18 or under, you're eligible to come and get food. And we've got long lines at the Salvation Army. We've got a lot of things going on. This is something that we want to make sure that everyone in the community that is eligible will take advantage.
Yeah, that's such a good point. And just to reinforce what you both said earlier, there's 1,900 families in Lynn who have not yet activated their benefits. And so that represents, close to $750,000 that could be pushed back into the Lynn economy. So this is a very important benefit. And I really appreciate you both spending time with me today to talk about how important it is.